Who would have thought it would come down to this? North Penn is in the middle of one of their best seasons ever, and they're in a very heated playoff race in District 1. Tonight, they'll be playing the Neshaminy Redskins, who lead them by 4 points in the playoff standings in this Suburban 1 League showdown. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Along with Joe Alcaro, I'm Kyle Berger, and welcome to Crawford Stadium, where tonight is the Knights versus the Redskins in a Suburban 1 Rumble. Of course, both teams are coming off big wins last week. Neshaminy with a 69-36 victory over the lowly Abington Ghosts, and North Penn, of course, coming off of the 27-24 victory over CB East last week. Joe, tell us a little bit about that Patriots victory.
Well, North Penn really did a good job coming from behind a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to put together the best quarter of football we've seen from North Penn this year, both offensively and defensively, Kyle.
Well, let's take a little bit of a look at those highlights from the CB East victory. So to the highlight reel we go. And for CB East, Brian Scott got things started with this big 33-yard pass reception over Tom Parentozzi to make the score 7-0 on CB East's first drive of the game. On the ensuing kickoff, Aaron Thomas will take the ball for the Knights, and they'll try a little rugby scrum trick play. And the only thing coming out of this is Aaron Thomas doing his roadkill imitation right there. The Knights got great running from Heike Johnson all night, and here he is on the first drive of the game, getting 35 yards on the option for a big gain out towards midfield. Of course, Heike Johnson, as I said just right before now, had a huge game for the Knights, and he kept it up on 3rd and long right here for the Knights, going off tackle, picking up about 10 yards, but that kept the drive alive, more importantly. The sophomore running back moved the ball within 5 yards of the end zone on a great individual effort on this play, caught from behind by Brian Scott just inside the 5-yard line. 2 plays later, it was Johnson again getting the call into the end zone off right tackle. The score was tied at 7-7. Into the second quarter we'll go now, and Tom Parentozzi gets this 7-yard sweep off the left side to give North Penn their first lead of the game, 14-7. On East's next drive, it was going to be Manny Stupakis taking this reverse from Brian Scott. He'll run to the left side of the field and cut it all the way back to the right side of the field, running about 100 yards on that play, but only getting about 40 yards downfield before he is knocked out of bounds by Olu Mims. And that would set up 2 plays later, Brian Scott's second receiving touchdown of the night on this fade pattern, almost a carbon copy of that first touchdown. So the score was 14-14 after that touchdown, and the Knights would try to get one last touchdown in the first half on this Hail Mary coming up from Tom Parentozzi, going down the far side to Evan Fitzpatrick. But he catches the ball, but he is outside the end zone, so no touchdown obviously, and time runs out in the first half with the score 14-14. Into the second half we go, and the Patriots had a chance to get a 7-point lead, but the ball thrown by Hable one-hops his receiver Troy Lavania in the end zone, incomplete on 3rd down. He's a little upset, but no matter. CB East would get a field goal on the next play, a 32-yarder from Tim Becker. It's up and it's good, giving East a 17-14 lead. East will get a 10-point lead now on this nifty reverse to Brian Scott from about 35 yards out, juking everybody on North Penn's defense and just outrunning Kenrick Smith into the end zone. 24-17 Patriots. North Penn got back into the swing of things, however, on their next drive, as Heike Johnson gets this the wide receiver screen, and he gets out across midfield for the Knights, a big gain. And on the next play, it was Heike Johnson on this bomb from Tom Parentozzi. He's wide open. Look at this. You can't get any more wide open than that. And he's down inside the 5-yard line for the Knights. So on 4th and goal now on the ensuing first down, it's 4th and goal now. Nate Vielhauer gets the call from the goal line, and he gets in to get the Knights within 3. Now all North Penn's defense needed to do after scoring this touchdown was make CB East go 3 and out. And they did just that. Brian Scott, going off the right side, is plastered by Martin Leonard. And on the next play, it was Brian Scott again. This time it's Jeff Bloom stuffing him at the line of scrimmage. And on 3rd down, Patriots quarterback Justin Hable rolls right, but look at this spin move by Dave Koslow right there forcing Hable to be flushed out of the pocket, and he's stopped short of the first down, forcing CB East to punt on 4th down, and they do. A high snap is fielded by Hable, and he gets it away, and a good return here by Lou Mims to set up North Penn's final drive as he gets out toward midfield. Good return by the senior fullback for the Knights. So North Penn got things going. This drive was all Parentozzi and Kenrick Smith on this slant on 3rd and long. Very crucial play, and he gets 20 yards on that catch. Then 2 plays later, the same play again as Kenrick Smith gets down inside the 5-yard line. That would set up after this Tom Parentozzi spike. Nate Vielhauer going into the end zone, giving North Penn a 27-24 lead. And all CB East had to do, because Tom Parentozzi's extra point was blocked here by RJ White of CB East, was get a field goal to tie, but Hable is flushed out of the pocket by Jeff Bloom, and Dave Coslow brings him down for a 10-yard loss. On the very next play, Hable goes deep. Brian Scott was jacked up at the line of scrimmage, and Lou Mims catches the interception, and that would seal the deal for North Penn, as Tom Parentozzi kneels on the ball, and that would seal the deal for Coach Pettin's 6-1 now North Penn Knights. And of course, Joe, Heike Johnson had a huge game for the Knights. And why don't you tell us a little bit about Heike Johnson?
Well, Heike has really done a good job throughout the year, picking up his game against the really big-name running backs he's had to face, and against CB East and Brian Scott, he had a combined total of 200 yards on the ground and receiving for North Penn.
Here's what Coach Pettin had to say about Heike Johnson earlier this week.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's really living up to his expectations and then some. I mean, I think he's probably further along than where we anticipated him being. I mean, he was a guy that we thought, hey, we'll get him some playing time, maybe he'll do some good things for us, but he is not only offensively did he play well, defensively, with the injury to Jason Payne, he was thrust into having to play our outside linebacker position, which he played very well.
So a big game from Heike Johnson, but let's not forget, Joe, that stellar performance by Kenrick Smith, especially on that final scoring drive.
You're right, Kenrick Smith has done a good job this year converting from a quarterback of last year to a wide receiver this year, and made a couple big plays in the end of that game.
Here's what Coach Pettin had to say about Kenrick Smith.
Spread it around a little bit just so teams can't kind of key on one guy. But in that situation, I felt that the coverages that East was giving us and the matchup that we had with Kenrick split out into the boundary isolated against one of their defensive backs, we like that matchup, so that's something that we went to a couple times in that last drive.
Now looking ahead to tonight's game against Neshaminy, of course a showdown. North Penn is 6-1, Neshaminy is 6-2, but Neshaminy is 4 points ahead of North Penn in the playoff standings. Well, we're going to take a look at some of the stats on offense, defense, and point production for both of these teams. North Penn obviously averaging 195 yards rushing per game, 100.7 yards passing for a total of 295.7 total yards of offense. Neshaminy, usually known as a passing offense, is shown by that 207.8 mark at passing yards. Got a big game from Frank DeSandro, making it 143.3 on the rush for 351 yards of total offense. One of the more prolific offenses in the area, Joe.
You're right, Jim Deeds does a good job of controlling his offense. And now we're going to look at the defenses, Kyle. North Penn really does a good job of not giving up too many passing yards, which could come into effect tonight. And Neshaminy gives up a lot of rushing yards, as you can see by the total, 233.6. And Heike Johnson and Lou Mims and Nate Vielhauer are going to try to exploit that tonight for North Penn.
And of course, Neshaminy giving up a lot of rushing yards last week to John Connor and Jim Johnson from Abington, two of the area's premier running backs, and really that pass defense of North Penn is going to be a big key for the Knights tonight. And here's a look at the point production. North Penn obviously averaging 25 points a game and getting 19.4 points per game, only giving up that many on defense. They have a margin of victory average of 6 points, and Neshaminy, of course, one of the more prolific offenses, we're going to say a lot tonight, averages about 29 points per game on offense. So North Penn's defense is going to be a key tonight, Joe.
You're right. They're going to just have to step up, control Jim Dietz, like I said earlier, and control Frank DeSandro, who might become a factor tonight with the windy conditions here. The passing game might not be on as much as it usually is for Neshaminy.
Of course, Neshaminy does have that great passing attack, but let's not forget Frank DeSandro, that running back for Neshaminy, who had over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns last week for the Redskins. Here's Coach Pettin on Frank DeSandro.
It's been a pretty good back through most of the season. I mean, nobody we're playing at this point, you just can't ignore people. I mean, you still have to play, still have to be able to defend the field. There are certain things you have to key on, and we'll get that for when we break the film down. But our emphasis this week will be obviously still to force them to do one thing or the other. If we can force them, if we can get them to know what they're going to do, then we'll be in good shape. So hopefully we'll defend the pass well, perhaps force them to run, and then we can key on that a little bit.
So Coach Pettin, of course, talking about Frank DeSandro, but now let's talk about their philosophy on this team of North Penn. One thing that Coach Pettin stresses is their best defense sometimes is a good offense, especially when you're playing against a good offense like Neshaminy. And here's what Coach Pettin had to say about that Neshaminy offense and defense.
Once again, has been our philosophy throughout the year. Against a great offense, sometimes your offense is your best defense. So that's what we felt. We did that against Ben Salem. I thought we did that at times against CB East. You play great defense when your defense isn't on the field. So if we can go out and we have the type of offense where we can drive 12, 14, 15 plays and eat up some clock, that's going to be our philosophy.
You may have heard about the World Series being called a Fall Classic, but this is definitely going to be a Fall Classic tonight here at Crawford Stadium. And we'll have all of the action for you on North Penn Television. Opening kickoff is next, so stay with us.
What if you had to choose between a flower and an elephant? What would you choose? What if you had to decide between a 100-year-old tree and a 1,000,000-year-old beach? Could you choose between drinking clean water or breathing clean air? Now you can choose all these things. EarthShare, the world's leading environmental groups working together. It's one choice we can all live with.
Welcome back to Crawford Stadium. It's a very rainy, cold, windy night. They call it football weather, so that's where we're going to bring it tonight. Neshaminy, with a record of 6-2, brings their game to Crawford Stadium against the 6-1 Knights. So North Penn will be kicking off in the blue jerseys and silver pants. Greg Dion's going to kick off instead of the usual Tom Parentozzi. They're going to keep him off the field as much as possible tonight in this horrible weather. Back deep to receive is Omar Harris for Neshaminy. And the kick is away by Dion, the left footer. It's a high, short kick taken by Harris at his 15-yard line out to the 20. Gets outside to the 25 and is taken out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Joe, some keys to the game.
Well, a couple keys to the game tonight for both teams, well, mainly North Penn, will be just to shut down Jim Dietz of Neshaminy and Antoine Lovelace. They're a very dangerous passing combination. Also, North Penn needs to control the ball on offense and take as much time off the clock as they can. And thirdly, the weather. It's raining here right now just a little bit, as you can see on the monitor. But the ball really is going to be a little slippier than the rain suggests, because the ball gets wetter than really. Kyle.
Thanks, Joe. Neshaminy will take over on their 27-yard line, 1st and 10. The handoff goes to Frank DeSandro up the middle. Picks up about 6 yards. And, of course, Frank DeSandro coming off of a career game last week against Abington. 22 carries for 213 yards and 4 touchdowns. And, of course, that obviously adds a new facet to Neshaminy's offense. When you have Jim Dietz throwing for 200 yards a game, now all of a sudden here's Frank DeSandro.
You're right. Defense usually tries to key on one player, especially in high school football. And with DeSandro really stepping up his game last week, North Penn's really had to change their outlook going into this game.
2nd and 3 for Neshaminy. Ball on their own 34-yard line. In motion is Jason Joniket. There's the ball again given up the middle to Frank DeSandro, but North Penn's defense does a good job of collapsing on him right at the line of scrimmage, getting maybe 1 yard on that play as Mike Mays is in on the stop for the Knights.
The main reason we're seeing DeSandro early here is just to control the clock a little bit by Neshaminy, and throwing the ball in rainy, wet conditions like it is right now is a lot harder than running the ball upfield. The field really isn't that wet right now because it's only been raining for about 30 minutes, and it's not even a hard rain. It's more like a drizzle.
Of course, that wind can be a big factor in the passing game, and Neshaminy is going into the wind right now on this drive. 3rd and 1, 36-yard line is where the ball is spotted. Given to DeSandro up the middle, and he gets the first down. Pickup of about 4 yards before he's brought down by Kenrick Smith of North Penn. 1st and 10 Neshaminy.
It really looks like the defensive line needs to collapse a little more on the offensive line. They're letting DeSandro get too big of a hole going through that line. And they really just got to step up right now. The linebackers have to key on DeSandro and just fill those gaps.
Of course, North Penn this week was planning on working on their pass defense, but different story tonight with this weather. That's going to be a factor as their rush defense is going to have to buckle down. Split to the left side is the junior Antoine Lovelace. In motion, Joniket Dietz under center for Neshaminy. Dietz will go on this play-action pass, looking and completing the pass to the fullback, number 45, Chaz Hall. Gets about 6 yards, maybe 7 on that play, setting up 2nd and 3 for Neshaminy. Clock running, 9:45 to go in the first quarter.
That's a very hard pass for Dietz there. Seeing how he's right-handed and he's going against the grain of his body on that pass, it takes a strong arm to complete a pass like that, and that's evident in Jim Dietz.
Of course, Jim Dietz is one of the best quarterbacks in southeastern Pennsylvania, and we'll talk about him after this play. 2nd and 3 at midfield is where the ball is spotted. The pitch out to DeSandro around the right side, gets by Martin Leonard, gets the first down, and he's caught from behind by Leonard for a first down for Neshaminy into North Penn territory. And of course, Joe, let's talk a little bit about Jim Dietz. Not only is he a great athlete, he's also a great student. 1350 on the SATs. He's being recruited by many Ivy League schools.
You're right. Harvard and Princeton have both been looking at him, and Lehigh, a very academic school, has also been looking at him. And the 1350 just shows he's a very smart quarterback. He's not going to be taking any chances tonight, especially in the rain. He's just going to get the job done from Neshaminy.
Just under 9 minutes to go. Scoreless 1st and 10. Neshaminy on North Penn's 42-yard line. Dietz up the middle to DeSandro. Stuffed at the line by Nate Vielhauer. Big play by the senior captain.
It's a great play by Vielhauer on that. He just stepped up, put a shoulder pad right in DeSandro's stomach and just said, hey, you're not getting any yards anymore.
Of course, Nate Vielhauer, that captain, as I said, he's been stepping it up lately. Had a huge game last week against CB East, one of the main factors in North Penn's victory, scoring those final 2 touchdowns for the Knights.
Yeah, we really talk about Vielhauer being a very good offensive fullback, but sometimes we forget that how good of a linebacker he is. He really makes good stops all the time for North Penn.
So DeSandro gets 1 yard on that last play, 2nd and 9. Play action pass, Dietz rolling right, looking deep, and he has a man wide open inside the 5. Touchdown for number 87, Ron Smith. So Dietz works that play pass to perfection, Joe, and Neshaminy is up quickly.
Receiver on that play was just wide open. There wasn't a North Penn defender within 20 yards of him, and Dietz picked up on that and just got the ball to him and let the receiver do the rest of the work.
So Neshaminy gets the 6-0 lead with the extra point to follow. On to kick is a wrestling buddy of mine, Josh Vetter, who is the 189-pounder, my counterpart on the Neshaminy roster. Unfortunately, I did lose to him this year, so we'll see what happens in the winter. But he's on to kick the extra point, just gets it away before Lou Mims can block it, and it's up and good. So we'll take a look at this pass from Jim Dietz to Ron Smith, and we'll see how wide open he really was.
It really looked like, as you'll see on this replay,
well, we had a little technical difficulties there, Joe, so no big deal. Neshaminy puts together a 78-yard drive to open the game. And that big play, Jim Dietz to Ron Smith, making it 7-0 just under 4 minutes into this first quarter at Crawford Stadium.
The defensive backs and cornerbacks really can't let any receivers get that wide open, especially for Dietz. He'll find the very open receivers, and he'll also find the slightly open receivers, and that really wasn't even a challenge for Dietz on that play.
Now we do have that replay for you, so here's a look at it. Dietz will just roll out to the right, the good fake to DeSandro, and fires deep, and look at that, wide open. Behind Kenrick Smith, Lou Mims, and Heike Johnson is Ron Smith. So a great play executed well by Smith and Dietz. Nice fake on the play fake, and when you have DeSandro running as well as he has been lately, that play action pass is really going to work wonders for you.
You're right, on a play like that, the linebackers are going to get stunned a little bit, Kyle.
So, North Penn will receive this kickoff. Heike Johnson and Aaron Thomas standing at their 10-yard line, and Josh Vetter is on to kick off.
Passes on the drive, Roger, does not look like this was affected by the rain so far. Better.
So 4 minutes into the game, 7-0 Neshaminy, moving from right to left in the white shirts and red pants. Vetter's kick is high and deep, taken at the 9-yard line by Aaron Thomas. A wall right set up for the Knights. Can Thomas get there? He does, but a great open field tackle by number 22 of Neshaminy, Matthew Carriola, the sophomore. A good job by Carriola on special teams.
Right, on special teams, it's a time for sophomores to step up and let the coaches know that they're there. And a great play on that, just to get a piece of Thomas while he's coming around the corner making a cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize if you're picking up the voices of some other people. It's a pretty packed press box right now with the miserable weather outside. There is a Neshaminy radio station right next to us, so we do apologize if you're picking them up. But Joe Alcaro and Kyle Berger are bringing you this action on North Penn Television as Heike Johnson takes us up the middle and is met for a loss by Michael O'Brien, setting up 2nd and 10 for the Knights.
It really looks like the Neshaminy defense is pumped right now, Kyle. You can see as O'Brien got up, 5 or 6 guys slapping him on the helmet saying, great job. And that's what Neshaminy has to do right now. They have to stop North Penn, get a 3 and out, just to continue their momentum. And North Penn's just got to put together a nice drive here.
So North Penn will stick with the ground offense, double tight end, power I formation, Mims, Vielhauer, and Johnson in the backfield. Parentozzi under center. We'll give it off to Johnson off right tackle, and look at that great play. Kevin Mullins just busting through that offensive line to stop Johnson in the backfield. 3rd and long for the Knights on their 22-yard line.
I'm really not sure what happened on that play. Johnson didn't have any running room. Like you said, he just busted through the line and got into the backfield, and that's not a good thing as a running back, seeing a defensive back flying right into your face.
So one thing that North Penn's coaching staff did not like so far is it appears that Neshaminy is winning the battle of the trenches, and in a rainy game like this, that is the difference. Parentozzi with Vielhauer, the single setback, will keep it. Parentozzi cannot get the first down, however, only picks up about 5 yards out to his 29-yard line, and North Penn will come in to punt.
That call really there wasn't really to try to get the first down. They really had to do a passing play there if they wanted a shot at that first down, and they just went for the little keeper up the middle.
So it will be 4th and 3 from North Penn's 29-yard line. Parentozzi will be in to punt. And one of the more dangerous players in the area, Antoine Lovelace, the junior wide receiver, will be deep inside his 40-yard line. Parentozzi gets it away. It's a high spiral. It will bounce at the 40-yard line and be picked up by Lovelace at the 30. Good coverage downfield by Koslow, but he's blocked. But Lovelace is finally brought down after about a 10-yard return to his 40-yard line. 1st and 10 Neshaminy. You
can see Lovelace try to make a cutback on that last play, Kyle, and with the slippery conditions, he really had no footing.
So 5:53 to go, 7-0 Neshaminy as they take over possession. And Jim Dietz, of course, as we're talking about him, 104 for 189. He's completed more passes than Tom Parentozzi has attempted for a 55% clip, 1,662 yards, 17 touchdowns, make it 18 after that hookup with Davis, and only 6 interceptions. Dietz with a quick trap up the middle. And picking up about 2 yards on that play was Chaz Hall.
That's really what the defensive line has to do right now. They've got to make some big stops when the fullbacks coming through, and the linebackers have to drop back into a little prevent defense whenever they see Dietz dropping back for a pass.
2nd and a long 8 for Neshaminy on the 41-yard line. And you would imagine that Neshaminy would stick with a running play here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a play-action pass. Backs in the I formation. Jonigett split right now in motion, coming towards Antoine Lovelace in bump and run coverage is Lou Mims. It's a play action pass. Dietz is looking across the middle and completes it to Jason Jonigett. And that play action pass looks like that's going to be all we're seeing out of Jim Dietz this evening. And really, that's a credit to him. Even in this rainy weather, he can throw the ball with the greatest of ease.
You're right. Play-action passes really affect the defense. When there's a good running back in the backfield along with a good quarterback, you really don't know which one to go for. And a good play-action fake, to fake the ball to the running back, will really get the wide receiver open on a little bit of hesitation from the linebackers.
So the ball is now in North Penn territory at the Knights' 45-yard line as the rain begins to fall a little harder. Twins left as Dietz gets the draw up the middle to DeSandro. Lots of running room as he gets about 11 yards on that and another first down for Neshaminy. Clock stopped with 4:35 to go in this first quarter.
As we talked about earlier in the pregame show, Kyle, Neshaminy is very balanced on offense. They have a really good running game and then a great passing game with Dietz, and they just took advantage of another weapon, the draw. Going back, faking like a pass, opening up running room up the middle. It's just a good play if you've got a good quarterback.
Now the clock running for 20 to go. Once again, Neshaminy got that first touchdown on a touchdown pass from Dietz to Ron Smith, 7-0. And on 1st and 10, it's given to DeSandro, getting about 2 yards before he's brought down by Heike Johnson, along with Jeff Bloom, setting up 2nd and 8.
North Penn really has to just have to get out of this situation right now. They can't let Neshaminy go down and score again because they're running all over them right now. They need to get a 3-and-out here on this new first down they just got. It's 2nd and 8. It's a good time to step up as a defensive player should.
So North Penn will stack that line. Trips left for Neshaminy. Dietz with a long count. Quick drop, looking on the slant, and completes it to Jonigett. And that's a great ball by Dietz, Joe.
You're right. Earlier when they were warming up, I saw them complete that pass 20, 25 times. They really practice that pass because it's a good, quick pass for a quarterback, especially in rainy conditions. You just want to get a ball away as quick as you can, and you don't really try to put too much on it.
So Jason Jonigett picks up his 3rd reception of the evening already with just a bit over 3:10 to go in the first quarter. So Jim Dietz has not thrown an incomplete pass yet, I don't believe. On 1st and 10, it's Frank DeSandro getting inside the 10-yard line, picking up about 3 yards on that play. 2nd and 7 for Neshaminy at the North Penn 10-yard line.
Right, it looks like North Penn's really starting to pick up on the running plays a little bit more, but they really got to be obvious to the fact that Jim Dietz is just going to throw on them whenever he wants to, and the D-backs have to step up, especially deep in territory right now.
And one thing about Jim Dietz, Joe, as we said, he's a really intelligent quarterback, and in the article I've read about him in the Philadelphia Inquirer, he audibilizes about 6 times a game. So we'll see if he calls any audibles throughout the night. Dietz with the long count. Quickly up the middle to DeSandro and met at the line of scrimmage by the Knights defense. Mike Mays and Mike Kapusta. No gain on that play. 3rd and 7. This is a big play for North Penn right here.
It's a really big play. Field goals aren't necessarily a guarantee tonight because of the wet conditions. There could be a bad snap. So they really just got to stop them on this play and make sure that they don't get the touchdown.
The Knights should be watching for that play-action pass, as is Neshaminy's biggest offensive threat. And they'll come into formation with trips to the right. It's DeSandro, Jonigett, and Lovelace. Single setback is Chaz Hall. Dietz with plenty of time to throw. Flushed out of the pocket by Koslow. Dietz to the end zone. Incomplete. Defense on that play by Martin Leonard and Kenrick Smith. You got to give credit to the Knights' pass protection on that. Dietz had nowhere to throw that one.
You're right. The defensive backs did a good job setting back in kind of an umbrella formation, not letting them find any open zones, especially when a quarterback rolls out to his right or to his left. The receivers are told to roll with them, and they just didn't let him on that play. It was a good job by North Penn.
So Josh Vetter is on to kick about a 27-yard field goal. He has hit a 21-yard field goal earlier this year. This will be off of the left hash mark. Not a very easy kick for the senior. It's up, and I believe it's wide right. No, it's good. Didn't have a good angle on that, but Josh Vetter puts it through the uprights. 10-0 Neshaminy. Good kick by the senior kicker.
That's really a lot better than a touchdown, though, Kyle. You have to admit that. North Penn did a good job there stepping up when they needed to. But now North Penn's offense really has to just put together a nice drive here. They got to get a couple yards on each play, get a couple first downs, and really let the defense just rest a little bit. They've been on the field a lot already, and it's just only the first quarter.
And there goes that saying again, the best defense sometimes is a good offense, and North Penn has only had the ball for about a minute out of the 10-plus minutes we played in this first quarter. So really North Penn needs to get a couple first downs here, needs to ground the ball out after that 51-yard drive. Check that 61-yard drive by Neshaminy, making the score 10-0.
And it all can start here with some good field position on this kickoff return. Just got to get upfield. Don't worry about trying to break anything for a touchdown. Just get upfield and get some yardage.
And really on that last kickoff, they had that wall formation toward the near side of the field, and Aaron Thomas had a lane. Just somehow their coverage snuck in. So Vetter is on to kick the ball with 1:42 remaining in the first quarter. He approaches it, and it's a high, short kick taken by Aaron Thomas at the 11-yard line, trying to get that wall again, and there's that wet field for you as Aaron Thomas falls over when he was trying to cut it up at the 15-yard line, and that's where he is down.
Nobody blocked three of Neshaminy's covermen on that play. Thomas was just greeted with a wall of white. He had nowhere to go, and like you said, the wet ground really played an important factor on that play.
So, 1st and 10 for North Penn. They need to get something going here before it gets too out of hand. 10-0 Neshaminy. Of course, Joe, the Knights lose. They might be out of this playoff race in District 1.
You're right. This is the biggest game all year for North Penn.
Parentozzi under center. Ball is loose. And I believe Neshaminy has recovered, and they have. I just don't believe this, Joe. Everything that can go wrong for North Penn has gone wrong so far. There is a flag on the play, however. No, check that. Flag just came out. No flag on the play, Joe.
Really, this is the time for North Penn's defense to just step it up. Like I just keep repeating, it's hard to not repeat it when that's really what they have to do. They just got to shut them down and try for another field goal attempt. Once again, we've seen North Penn's offense out there for what, 5 seconds that time, Kyle? Just
not even.
Right.
This is just Coach Pettin and Coach Beck on the sideline are beside themselves right now. They do not know what to do. And really, I mean, on 1st and 10 on their own 15, you can't lose the football. So 1st and 10 for Neshaminy at North Penn's 20-yard line. Dietz under center with DeSandro in the backfield, and it's pitched to him. It looked like a halfback option, but great coverage by Martin Leonard. It appeared that DeSandro was going to pull up and throw a halfback option right there as he had Antoine Lovelace in the end zone.
Lou Mims did a good job of following Antoine Lovelace into the end zone, not being faked on the halfback pass. And a good job by the defensive line of North Penn not to be fooled either. They were just going after DeSandro on that play.
So a 7-yard loss, and that's a big play by the defense. That basically pushes Neshaminy out of field goal range. So if the defense can hold, they'll be able to shut Neshaminy out for the first time tonight. Single setback is Chaz Hall. Quick count. Dietz back to pass. It's the center screen, and Chaz Hall cannot find the handle on it. And he had big yards there as the front five of North Penn. Jeff Bloom, Mike Mays, Wadi Shuhaybar, and Dave Kossel all had come up, and they didn't have anybody back. Chaz Hall was wide open, but that wet ball goes right through his hands.
It looked like the ball was passed a little bit behind him on that play, Kyle. It's one of the few mistakes we're going to see tonight from Jim Dietz. You know, when you got three big guys, big linemen running to you right in your face, it's kind of hard to make a perfect pass.
That is the only knock against Jim Dietz. He is only 5'11", and that's probably one of the reasons he wasn't recruited by any Division I schools. Another quick count. Dietz rolling right. Flag on the play. It's going to be holding. Dietz is going to run it, and he's knocked out of bounds after a 7-yard gain, but this one's going to come back. Now, this is a tough call here, Joe. Do you give him 3rd and 27 on the 37-yard line, or do you give him 4th and about 8 on the 20-yard line? We'll see what they do.
This is just when a good coaching decision will come into play right here. Coach Patton really has to just decide, like you said.
I believe they are going to take the penalty, so 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and that they're definitely out of field goal range. Now, all North Penn has to do is settle into a prevent sort of defense. The 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul places it on the 40-yard line of North Penn, so 3rd down and 30 yards to go for Neshaminy. The defense just has to watch the trick plays, the big passes here they're just going to have to make sure nobody gets behind him.
Right, like you just said, getting behind him. Dietz has a strong arm. He can easily make a 50-yard pass if he needs to. So we're just going to have to see what Neshaminy tries to do here.
They're going to go trips right with Lovelace, DeSandro, and Jonikit. DeSandro is in the slot. Chaz Hall is the fullback. Jim Dietz with a long count. He may be audibleizing here. He'll take a 3-step drop and finds it over the middle. Antoine Lovelace drops the football. One of the sure-handed receivers for Neshaminy cannot come up with that. So the defense comes away with a shutout on this possession. Good job by the Knights, and that penalty was awfully costly for the Redskins.
Another great play by Lou Mims. It looked like he got a hand on that ball. He might have got up inside Antoine Lovelace a little bit there, and maybe a little contact on the play, but that's a good job by Lou Mims.
And here we go again, Joe. As we've seen throughout the year, the quarterback is the punter. You have to watch the fake. You never know what can happen. Ball is at the 40. Dietz is at his own 48-yard line. Aaron Thomas on his 10-yard line to receive. It's a good snap and a beautiful kick by Dietz. Thomas makes a mistake. He catches it inside his 5-yard line, but he busted out to the 15, and you don't like to see your punt returners catching that ball inside that 10-yard line, Joe.
Really, that's just an experience on Thomas's part. He's a sophomore. He probably has been trained for a situation like that. A great punt by Dietz to get it within the 5-yard line. Just a nice play by Dietz, and Thomas will learn after that play, getting hit up about 5 yards where it started from.
Yeah, usually what you like to see your returners do, they'll call a fair catch, but they'll just let the ball bounce into the end zone, as that one might have done so, but they're just inside the 20-yard line. 17-yard line is where the ball is spotted. North Penn needs to get more than 3 plays on this possession with 28 seconds left in the first quarter. Neshaminy's defense stacks the line. Johnson is the tailback, and it's given to him. Met at the line. Just this defense by Neshaminy right there, number 48, Brian Staley, has just been dominating this game so far.
Right, North Penn might want to try a pass here, Kyle. They haven't tried one all night, and especially on a play like that, doesn't influence a coach to go back to the running game when there's 2 Neshaminy guys standing in the hole where your running back's supposed to run through.
Well, North Penn is going to watch the clock run out, and they'll take the walk to the other end of the field, and we'll be going from right to left in the second quarter. Neshaminy has the lead 10-0 over North Penn. And they've come out like gangbusters in this first quarter. And we'll be back with second quarter action at Crawford Stadium after this on North Penn Television. Stay with us.
You are 100% unadulterated energy. You have no choice but movement. You aren't acted on. You are action. You have the power to make the world a better place. You already know how to do it. Volunteer now for the American Red Cross. Call your local chapter for details.
Welcome back to Crawford Stadium. 10-0 is your score. Neshaminy has the lead over North Penn, 2nd and 8 on their own 19-yard line on the first play of this second quarter. Parentozzi gives it up the middle to Vielhauer. He gets about maybe 1 or 2 yards on that play. North Penn in the first quarter has 7 yards of total offense, Joe. And really, when Neshaminy has 122 yards of total offense, that's obviously going to be a difference.
Yeah, it's just a one-sided statistic right there, just like it was a one-sided quarter. It almost looks like North Penn's trying to run the ball early like Neshaminy did and just not getting the same amount of production out of it.
So 3rd down and 7 yards to go for the first down for North Penn. Parentozzi at quarterback. In the backfield, Vielhauer and Johnson. Parentozzi will be passing, rolling right, looking over the middle, throws it behind Kenrick Smith, incomplete. 4th down and 7.
Parentozzi looked like a little indecision on that play. He didn't know if he was supposed to run or if he was supposed to pass that. And you never know. You really can't question a quarterback's decision. But it's 4th down now, Kyle. North Penn really didn't do what they wanted to do on that possession.
Yeah, North Penn has yet to get a first down. This has really been tough on the North Penn coaching staff. They don't know what they can do. They just haven't been able to get anything together. So Parentozzi standing inside his 10-yard line. Good snap. The kick is just barely away. A high wobbler bouncing at the 45-yard line. Takes a North Penn bounce, and they'll let it roll into the 45-yard line. A punt of 35 yards for Parentozzi, and Neshaminy will take over. While we have a break in the action, let's take a look at the area football top 10. We'll take a look at that when we get the chance. So the ball is on the 45-yard line of Neshaminy as they'll take over 1st and 10, and North Penn only using about a minute or two of clock time on that last possession. So, as has been the theme so far tonight, Joe, when they're not going your way, things just will not happen for you.
You're right, everything's going wrong for North Penn so far.
Draw play to Frank DeSandro. Plenty of running room, finally caught from behind by Jeff Bloom. 1st and 10, Neshaminy on the 12-yard run by Frank DeSandro.
That hole is humongous up on the line created by the offensive line. Just a really good job of Neshaminy's offensive line. We've seen it a couple times tonight, creating big holes, good pass protection for Dietz to give him some more time. They're doing a good job tonight. They're just overpowering North Penn's defensive line.
So the ball inside the North Penn 44-yard line. 10.5 minutes to go in this first half. Neshaminy with the 10-point lead. In motion, Jonikit toward the near side of the field. Lovelace is split there as well. Draw up the middle, DeSandro. Flag on the play. Martin Leonard does bring down DeSandro after a short gain. We'll see what the call is. Thrown by the head official, the referee, and it is a holding on Neshaminy, their second holding call of the night. So North Penn will obviously take this. This is from the spot of the foul. Once again, a 10-yard penalty. And they will replay 1st down.
Penalties are really starting to play a little part for Neshaminy here in this game. They keep sending their team back 10 yards, and that's really never good, Kyle. You don't want to be going back 10 yards on 1st down.
So that'll back the ball up to the 46-yard line. 1st and 20 now to Neshaminy. And once again, Joe, as we said on that 3rd and 30 play, North Penn just has to make sure nobody gets behind him. And obviously this is a passing situation, and Neshaminy will not be afraid to put the ball in the air with Jim Dietz.
You're right. There's really no surprises here, Kyle.
So they'll go twins right, Jonikit and Antoine Lovelace. Backs in the I formation, Dietz. Play action pass. It's a center screen and dropped by Frank DeSandro. That's the second center screen we've seen muffed by the Redskins thus far.
I think DeSandro on that play heard the footsteps of Vielhauer coming up right behind him. He looked up, he saw him out of the corner of his eye, and just took his eye off the ball while he was looking at Vielhauer about to kill him.
So still a steady rain is above us at Crawford Stadium with the score 10-0 Neshaminy. 2nd and 20. Ball on the Neshaminy 46-yard line. Twins right again. It's DeSandro and Jonikit. Lovelace split far to the left side. Dietz audibleizing. He calls the draw up the middle, and a great audible by Jim Dietz as it is given to Chaz Hall for a big 15-yard gain. And that's that intelligence of Jim Dietz that we were talking about earlier, Joe.
It's a great call by Dietz. He picked up on something we didn't pick up on. It looked like a straight passing play, and he just saw something that he needed to change, and just a great call.
And great blocking by that offensive line of Neshaminy. 3rd down and 6 on North Penn's 40-yard line. The defense needs to buckle down right now. So it's Antoine Lovelace split to the right side in the slot on the far side. Now in motion towards the right is Jonikit. Play action pass completes it to Chaz Hall. He does have the Neshaminy 1st down and is knocked out of bounds by a very disgusted Mike Kapusta on the near sideline, stopping the clock with 9:02 to go. I think this will be a 1st down. Referee's having a conference. There's a flag on the play. That's 2 men in motion, an illegal shift on Neshaminy. So they appeared to have a 1st down there. I didn't even see the flag thrown. That signal by the official means there are 2 men in motion. So that's just a fundamental mistake by the Neshaminy offense, and that cost them a first down.
You're right. We've seen some great calls by the Neshaminy offense, and then we've seen some calls that could have been changed. They're really not. They're doing a good job of opening up holes, but then they're holding people. It's going both ways for the offensive line, and for the illegal shift. It's just inexperience by some of the players on the field right now.
So 25 yards in total penalties for Neshaminy so far in this first half of football action, setting up 3rd and 11 from the North Penn 45-yard line. And once again, Joe, nobody can get behind the Knights on this play.
Right, you got to watch that play action fake, and with 3 receivers, it's pretty much going to be a passing play.
And it is a quick drop by Dietz. Fires to Jonigat, can't hold on to the football. Good coverage by Heike Johnson to nullify any attempt at catching that pass by Jonigat. So the defense comes off with its second straight shutout. Now it's the offense's turn, as they will get the ball back after this Jim Dietz punt.
It really looks like North Bend's getting a couple breaks here with drop passes from Neshaminy. They just got to take advantage of it now, Kyle.
Aaron Thomas standing inside his 10-yard line again, and Jim Dietz, who had a really nice punt that first quarter, sends a high spiral taken by Thomas at the 12-yard line. Nowhere to go. Good block by Lou Mims. Aaron Thomas is finally dragged down at his 15-yard line. 1st and 10, North Penn. Flag on the play. Might be a late hit or a face mask. We'll have to see what the call is as the officials talk about it.
It really did look like he got wrestled down by some part of his.
And it's going to be a personal foul chop block on North Penn. And that'll be a half the distance penalty. And North Penn is losing the battle of field position. And when you're losing field position and you only have 10 yards of total offense, it doesn't take a genius to tell you you're not going to win any football games like that.
You're right. Coach Patton's really got to be wondering what's going on the field right now. North Penn just has to get away from their end zone. They can't be in there. With the wet football, there's always a chance of a fumble. They just got to get away from their end zone like they didn't do on their other possessions.
So a half the distance penalty places the ball at the 8-yard line of North Penn. They have 92 yards to go until pay dirt. They'll go 4 wide receivers. And Vielhauer the single setback. And it will be given to Vielhauer. North Penn's first measurable gain of the night as he's driven back, but on forward progress, he'll get about 3 yards, setting up 2nd and 7. Meeting him at the 10-yard line for Neshaminy was Kevin Mullins, the senior linebacker.
North Penn's offensive line really has to step up here and get a nice little push into the defensive line of Neshaminy. North Penn just has to get something started here, Kyle. That's just the bottom line. They just got to get some sort of momentum.
And really with momentum, Joe, that is usually a big key in a football game. You need a lot of momentum going for you. And right now it's all in favor of Neshaminy. And 2 things that could get your momentum going, either A, a big drive, or B, a big play. Not necessarily getting a touchdown off of it, but if you get a play over 30 or 40 yards, you're going to get some momentum going. And here comes Heike Johnson. He might have this big play. 35-40 and knocked out of bounds at the 45-yard line by number 15, Michael Ever. And there it is, Joe, that big play. North Penn has momentum as the crowd makes a little more noise here at Crawford Stadium.
You really sure can call them, Kyle. As you were talking, Heike Johnson breaking to the outside. And that's the first time we've seen Johnson get to the outside where he's the most dangerous. He's a great explosive back as soon as he can turn that corner like we just saw in that last play.
So just basically a straight sweep by Heike Johnson, giving North Penn their best position of the game. 48-yard line of North Penn is where the ball is spotted. It's given to Johnson again. Same exact play. Look at that block by Nate Vielhauer. Driving back his man 8 yards. And Heike Johnson picks up 7. 2nd and 3 for North Penn.
That was just the same exact play like we saw before, like you said. And that's what North Penn did against CB East last week, Kyle. They just stuck with the same off-tackle play, and it looks to be working here, so why not stay with it?
Yeah, if it works, why? Exactly, Joe. If it works, you should stay with it. And really, if they're going to have to run one play tonight, it might as well be that one, as they've picked up sizable amounts of yardage on both times they've called that play. Parentozzi, once again, same play. This time it's Lou Mims picking up the first down. And inside the 25-yard line, a good run by Lou Mims. So 3 plays in a row, the same play to the same side of the field. This time it's Lou Mims. First and 10 North Penn on the 25-yard line.
Neshaminy's defense just has to be wondering what happened. They had the momentum down, they had them pinned back against their end zone, and now North Penn put together 3 big plays on the same off-tackle play, led by Nate Vielhauer, who's done a great job blocking on all 3 plays.
Clock stopped with 7 minutes to go in this first half. North Penn at the Neshaminy 26-yard line. Vielhauer and Johnson in the backfield. Given to Vielhauer. Johnson stuffed in the backfield for a loss by number 52, Bill Compton. Loss of 3 yards on that play. 2nd and 13, North Penn on the 29-yard line.
That really just looked like a straight blitz there by Neshaminy. The linebackers were flying through the holes. They just wanted to stop North Penn. They didn't want them. They knew they were going back to the same play, which is a good call by the defensive coordinator of Neshaminy. And to get the blitz is just to stop North Penn from gaining more momentum than they already have right now.
So the only question here now, Joe, is does North Penn either stick with that play or run a play-action pass off of that? They'll be in the same formation, so both of those plays are an option. They might go with an entirely different play altogether, though. Parentozzi with Vielhauer getting some motion. Will run the option. Gives it to Johnson. He drops the football, and Neshaminy picks it up. Recovering it for the Redskins is number 36, James Kelly. So really, Joe, in conditions like this, the more times you have to have a ball exchange with that wet football, the more problems you're going to have. So North Penn getting their best concerted offensive push so far tonight, coughing up the football when they're in deep into Neshaminy territory.
Right, that's just a dangerous play, especially with the spin put on the ball from an option pass.
So North Penn went 74 yards on that drive before giving it away. And this play to Frank DeSandro is a 4-yard gain, setting up 2nd and 6 for Neshaminy at the 40-yard line. And really 74 yards on that drive as opposed to 10 yards in the first quarter. Multiplying your offense by 7-fold in that drive. And North Penn had momentum. They had that big play by Johnson. They had another big play by Johnson. They had another big play by Lou Mims. And then they cough up the football. So North Penn just, like we've said all night, things are not going their way. Quick count. It's DeSandro. And stopped after about a gain of 2 by Nate Vielhauer and Martin Leonard for the Knights. Will be 3rd and about 3 yards for Neshaminy.
The thing that Dietz does is when he knows what play he wants to run, he comes up and does a quick count. When he's doing an audible, he does a much longer count. And I don't know if a defense can really take advantage of that, but it really just knows if he's changing the play up. If they're in a pass formation, they might be going to a running play if he's taking a long time to snap the ball.
So on 3rd and 3, North Penn will have to look out for either a run or a pass. Lining up against Lovelace is Lou Mims. He's going to draw double coverage by Kenrick Smith. He'll drop back. Parentozzi covering Jonigat, who was in motion. Play action pass. Dietz looking over the middle and completes it, making the sliding catch is Ron Smith, who has the touchdown for Neshaminy. A great ball by Jim Dietz, throwing it only where Ron Smith can catch it, and he had a good 5-yard cushion there.
You're right. Lou Mims had great coverage on Lovelace downfield, which made Dietz check off his number 1 receiver, which was Lovelace, and find an open receiver cutting across the middle. And it's just a good, intelligent play by a quarterback.
And the only thing that happened there, Joe, is as Lou Mims was covering Lovelace, Kenrick Smith was also covering him too in double coverage, which left Ron Smith wide open. 1st and 10 Neshaminy, ball on North Penn's 45-yard line. Dietz up the middle to Chaz Hall. Look at this hole. Flag on the play. This one's coming back on a hold. Neshaminy shooting themselves in the foot with these penalties. As the signal is holding on Neshaminy, 10 yards once again from the spot of the foul. And whenever you see a flag from that umpire, Joe, that's going to be holding.
Really, Neshaminy just blocking a little too good, Kyle. They're getting all these calls against them for the holding. And it's really just killing their momentum. They already have the 10-point lead, but they really got to score some more in this second half to really put the proverbial nail in the coffin for North Penn, which things are not going the way for North Penn. you got them down, and you want to just keep them down, and that's what Neshaminy has to do. North Penn's is going to find a spark to get themselves back up on the upper hand.
So it will be 1st and 20. The officials are going to have a conference, I believe. The Neshaminy head coach is irate right now, wanting to talk it over with the official tonight. So it's going to be 1st and 20 for Neshaminy once we get back into action here after the conference between the official and Coach Mark Schmidt of Neshaminy. Schmidt is beside himself on the sideline talking with the referee at midfield about that last call. And of course, that flag was thrown rather late by the umpire after Chaz Hull had picked up about 10 yards, but holding's holding, and you're going to have to bring that play back.
Right, on a play like that, a coach just is upset with somebody, and the easiest person to blame is a referee. And they're just always the scapegoat, Kyle, and you see it all the time in football.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. And it's 1st and 20 for Neshaminy, ball on their own 46-yard line. Dietz takes the snap, hands it off, make that a play fake. Dietz loses his footing, recovers, he's going to run, and he's plastered out of bounds by Nate Vielhauer. The coaching staff does not really want Jim Dietz to be running all over the place on the Neshaminy side of the football. If you lose a guy like Jim Dietz, that could be your season.
You're right. Along with him being a very good quarterback, he's almost like having an extra coach on the field, changing the plays whenever he feels the need to. And it's just a great option for a head coach to have a quarterback that's very smart like that.
So the clock is stopped as Dietz was knocked out of bounds. 3:50 to go in this first half. 10-0, Neshaminy has the lead. 2nd down and 12 on the North Penn 47-yard line after the 8-yard run by Jim Dietz. Quick handoff to DeSandro up the middle, slashes his way for a 8-yard gain to the 40-yard line. 3rd down and 3 yards to go, make that 4 for the Redskins.
One thing you always like to see your running backs do is when they're getting tackled to fall forward and get the extra yard and a half they can get by keeping their momentum going forward. And DeSandro really does a good job of that. He keeps his body low and he just keeps going and just keeps chopping his legs and just tries to get yardage, which is a good job by a running back.
So 3rd and 5 from the North Penn 40-yard line, another key play in this first half. If North Penn wants to get the ball back, they're going to have to stop Neshaminy here. Dietz will run the play fake to DeSandro, throwing over the middle, and what a great catch. Making that was, I believe, number 86 for Neshaminy. That's Jason Delp. What a catch on that play, and a great ball thrown almost effortlessly by Jim Dietz.
Really, having good receivers on your team really makes the quarterback look a lot better than he really was. He threw that ball behind his receiver on that play, a good layout dive.
So 2:50 and counting to go in this first half. North Penn's defense has to buckle down now. They cannot afford to fall back any further. Quickly up the middle to Chaz Hull, a great spin move, and he's caught from behind by Mike Mays as well as Martin Leonard and Tom Parentozzi. Gets about 6 yards, make it 7. 2nd and 3, maybe a long 2 for Neshaminy on the 22-yard line of the Knights.
Neshaminy is just pretty much doing what they want to do against North Penn's defense so far. When they want to pass, they pass. When they want to run, they run. And the only thing that's holding them back is their penalties, which we haven't seen in a couple of plays, which with Neshaminy, it's like every 4 plays so far.
So Jim Dietz under center, backs in the I formation. Play action pass. Dietz flushed out of the pocket, gets by Leonard, and look at that great play by Jim Dietz, finding the safety valve, Frank DeSandro, who came out of the backfield, and he completes that pass for a 1st down. I am just amazed by Jim Dietz right now, Joe. This is unbelievable.
I didn't even see DeSandro on that play. How he found him, I don't know. I'm up here, I'm 50 feet off the ground, and I didn't even see him. And it was a nice play by DeSandro to keep his feet in bounds.
So, Neshaminy in the midst of a very nice drive right now. Ball on the North Penn 15-yard line. 1st and 10. Dietz audibilizing once again. Single setback, Chaz Hull. Blitz coming from North Penn. And Dietz evades Jeff Bloom, but is brought down in the backfield by number 45 for North Penn. And of course, playing that trick on us, there is no number 45 in the program. It might have been Mike Kapusta, I'm not sure. 2nd and 11 on the 1-yard loss. Ball on North Penn's 16-yard line. Into the final 90 seconds of this second quarter. 10-0. Neshaminy has the lead. They're going to send DeSandro and Jonikit to the left side, and Lovelace lined up in single coverage with Lou Mims on the near side. Dietz with a long count again. Drops back looking for Lovelace. The fade pattern. And out of bounds, I believe. Good call by the official. Lovelace made a beautiful one-handed catch, but could not control before he stepped in bounds. And just once again, Jim Dietz, unbelievable throw, throwing it perfectly into that back corner of the end zone, just a little too far for the junior wide receiver, Antoine Lovelace.
The thing the referees didn't pick up on was the push in the back that Lovelace gave the Mims in the corner to free himself to catch that ball. And Dietz just ran out of room with Lovelace on that play. Just not enough room in the back of the end zone.
And Antoine Lovelace at 6'1", 184, has that frame of a Michael Irvin, and he's using some of his techniques there, as that push-off proves. Neshaminy goes with the same formation on 3rd and 11 from the North Penn 16-yard line. They're going to go up the middle. Chaz Hall is met after gaining 3 yards by North Penn's Mike Kapusta and Dave Koslow. The only question is, will they bring in the field goal unit? I think they will. And it's going to be 4th and 6, timeout on the field. North Penn takes this one to stop the clock before Neshaminy can kick the field goal. 10-0 is the score. Neshaminy will try to get a field goal to make it 13-0.
Neshaminy, if they get a field goal on this next attempt, they're really going to put North Penn down going into halftime. That's never good as a team. You want to be up going into halftime and getting your pep talk by your coach.
So the team's in a timeout right now, and when they come back, the ball will be on the 11-yard line. And Josh Vetter, the kicker for Neshaminy, will be attempting a 28-yard field goal attempt. On North Penn Television, we remind you to watch Meals You Can Make with Cynthia Wood, 5:30 p.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Channel 16. We make lots of good stuff, and you can make your dinner right with us on North Penn Television. So look for that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 16. So back to action now. Josh Vetter on to attempt a 28-yard field goal. The snap is away. It's a low one. The kick is up, and it is wide left. A low duck hook by Josh Vetter. North Penn might get a little momentum out of that, although they will have to go 89 yards. Check that. They'll get the ball at the 20-yard line. Any kick that is inside that 20-yard line is taken back to the 20-yard line. It's like a touchback of a punt. So North Penn will have to go now 80 yards. They do have 2 timeouts, but they are down 10-0.
You'd have to guess that North Penn would be passing here a little more, Kyle. Even with the wet conditions and Tom Parentozzi gripping the ball, they really have to go to the pass to stop the clock.
1st and 10 North Penn on their own 20-yard line. Parentozzi will give to Johnson. It's that same play again, that sweep to the left side of the field, and Johnson picks up 7 yards. Clock running. See if North Penn does that 2-minute drill that they ran to near perfection against CB East. Doesn't look like it as they drop back into the huddle. 2nd and 4, 30 seconds to go. North Penn may just take its licks right now and recover at halftime. They'll have to get at least one more play off before this half ends. The only question is, will it be a long bomb or just a run up the middle to concede the half to Neshaminy?
They just really got to hold on to the ball. They can't lose it right now.
10 seconds to go. Parentozzi has Bielhauer in motion. Takes the snap. It's quickly given up the middle. Fumble on the play. Who has it? Doesn't matter. Time has run out in this first half, so a dejected North Penn squad saunters off Crawford Stadium's field down 10-0, and Neshaminy basically, Joe, owned that half.
You're right. Dietz was doing a great job finding his receivers, the open receivers. DeSandro did a good job on the ground in the beginning to keep North Penn honest throughout the whole half. And Neshaminy just doing what they want with North Penn right now and so far. And North Penn really just needs to get some offense going. We've seen a couple big plays, but not enough to sustain a drive and to get a score.
So the score once again, 10-0 Neshaminy at halftime. And we'll have the second half for you on North Penn Television after this. Stay with us.
Your parents are always bugging you to get out of the house and get some exercise. But you've got your own way of doing things. You're your own person. You don't need to follow the crowd or the rules. And the last people you want to be like are your parents.
Johnny, tell them what they want.
Back now at Crawford Stadium, where it's band night, and the three middle schools, Penndale, Pembroke, and Penfield, have merged into one gigantic marching band, and they will perform for us tonight at halftime, and joining them later will be the world-famous North Penn Marching Knights. Let's listen in on the festivities. Stay with us.
Welcome, North
Tommy wants to design bridges when he grows up. Maybe he'll design one that you'll use. Now, would you like this free booklet of simple ways you can help improve his education? Call 1-800-96-PROMISE. Billy wants to work on airplanes someday. Maybe one that you fly in. Now, would you like to call for this free booklet of simple ways to improve his education?